All right, it is 7 p.m. on Monday, August 4th. This is the City of Brainerd Personnel and Finance Committee meeting. We'll call it to order and start with introductions. Kelly.
Kelly Bevins, Brainerd City Council, Ward 2.
Chris Schubert, HR Director.
Adam Olson, Northwest Partners.
Connie Hillman, Finance Director.
Nick Hagelin, Brainerd Fire Department.
Joe Ingy, Brainerd Fire Department.
Kevin Stunek, Alderman at Large.
Tim Holmes, Brainerd Fire Department. Sean Strong, Technology Director.
John Davis, Brainerd Police Department.
Teresa Burke, Brainerd Dispatch.
Popular meeting tonight. Dave Johnson, Chair of the Committee. We have 5 items, the first of which is the Fire Department Relief Association Annual Report. Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you. So we're just submitting our schedules for the SC 25 for this upcoming year. We are looking for an increase to our annual benefit level. Rather a bigger increase than we've taken in years past. And in part of that is due to last year we were up against a $15,000 state cap. So we did not increase beyond that last year. On the 23rd of May this year, the governor signed an omnibus pension bill. It moved that cap to $20,000 per year of service. Our fund allows us to maintain 107% funding with a $419,000 surplus and allows us to raise our cap to that $16,750.
So your request tonight is to approve the report and the authorize and sign the annual reports and increase the level of benefit to $16,750 per year.
And I so move.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. I don't think we'll need you upstairs.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Aye.
Okay, next up we have a sale of a retired police squad. Chief Davis.
Yeah, I'm looking to sell retired police vehicle Squad 432. This is the second to the last owned vehicle our department has. This one is being replaced with a lease vehicle through Enterprise Fleet Management, and looking also to use Enterprise Fleet Management as we have before to facilitate the sale of this vehicle. So recommended motion before you is to authorize the sale of retired police squad 432 utilizing Enterprise Fleet Management.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next up is 2026 health insurance proposals. Chris.
So good evening, committee. I'd like to introduce Adam Olson. He is our health insurance broker for Northwest Partners. If you want to give a little information about what we talked about, please.
Great, thank you. Met with the insurance committee this past week. Back in June, Chris, myself, Brittany, a few others, we met to do the annual mid-year review, take a look at claim utilization in relation to premium funding. Happy to report that our claims utilization, just general claim activity aggregately is down compared to the prior year. We're running in a territory on the most completed 12 months of claims, somewhere between 75 to 80%, which typically bodes well for forthcoming renewals. So we feel at this time we are a desirable or a marketable risk to the entire health insurance marketplace, I should say. So was discussed at insurance committee to seek bids this year. Northwest Partners, my team, we will facilitate that lift, package those requests for proposals, take a look at the Minnesota Healthcare Consortium, the Public Employee Insurance Program, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Health Partners, Medica, United Healthcare. I think that covers it. So we also discussed taking a look at fully insured proposals and self-funded proposals. We don't stand before the group tonight saying self-funded is necessarily the way to go, but we thought it might be educational as we continue to grow and move year in, year out. So a couple things to note: if we were, by formally announcing marketing, we do need to notify Sourcewell, the Better Health Collective. By doing so, we do forfeit our rate cap for 2026. That is a 15% rate cap. They also apply some scorecard credits, which gives us a little bit of a discount. I know the city has some other insurance offerings, some cash in lieu programs for folks that don't take the insurance. So As Chris and I have talked about, we don't necessarily score so well in the scorecard, but another thing to consider, the wellness grant dollars that actually are provided by Sourcewell and the Better Health Collective, if we were to move away from that program, we would need to solve for some other means of providing those wellness and financing dollars. At this point, we feel that given our current loss ratio, we are, again, a desirable marketable risk to the insurance marketplace. We do not feel that the Sourcewell Better Health Collective will come out anywhere near the rate cap. In fact, we're probably trending somewhere, I don't have a crystal ball, but I would say probably mid to high single digits, I would think at worst, at least from the preliminary renewal that Sourcewell Better Health Collective will present the city. We feel by finding competitive bids, we can use that as leverage and negotiation to hopefully get and land in a best and final place. So, little recap from our recent discussions.
So staff has recommended action or possible options could be either to authorize Northwest Partners and staff to conduct the RFP for our 2026 health insurance policy, or to just plan to accept the 2026 health insurance renewal from the Better Health Collective when received towards the end of August. It's actually August 21st. We need to notify them. We have to start this process now if we're going to get everything ready for open enrollment. That's why we're coming to you now instead of waiting until after we get that
Okay,
actual renewal.
so those are the two options. It sounds like Adam is recommending we go with option one.
Correct.
Okay,
I would make that motion then.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Okay, next up, discuss the purchase of Perform and Next Request software.
So staff is seeking council direction on purchasing or budgeting for 2 new software programs. The 2 programs are Perform, which is an employee performance tracking software, and Next Request, which is to track and respond to data requests. In the agenda item, we discussed our current process and what Perform would do for us. We're hoping staff would like to be able to purchase the software in 2025 so that it would be set up and used in 2026 for the 2025 reviews. The cost estimate to start on September 1, for example, is a one-time cost of about $4,600 and an annual license fee of $10,400. The estimate for the 2025 budget would be about $4,864. The next request, give a little information that the city has received over 1,600 data requests in 2024 and about 939 to date in 2025. Staff assumes that it's likely that the data requests will continue to grow in number and complexity in the upcoming years. The current process is very labor intensive. It's manual tracking, deadlines to respond, record keeping, and there's particular challenge when a request is across multiple departments. Next request would track the request, communications, and document proof of compliance. And all data requests would be received through a portal, and information could be redacted through the software rather than having to redact it and then scan it in before it can be sent out. There's a one-time fee of about $1,500 and an annual cost of $10,788 for year 1. Another consideration for the 2026 budget is that the city did lose the $20,000 funding from Sourcewell to pay for the police management software. Staff was told last year that the grant would be an annual option for funding of the software. Their attorneys reviewed it and said no, that we could not be used for an annual expenditure like the software subscription. So the recommended action motion is to discuss Perform and Next Request software and consider authorization to purchase Perform in 2025 to be able to use in the 2026 for 2025 reviews, and consider authorization to budget for both softwares in 2026.
Any questions?
I have one, Mr. Chair. If we buy it in 2025, and it's a 2026 budgetary item, it really isn't. We didn't budget for it for 2025,
Correct.
right? And we're gonna, so any discussion we have this fall will be too late. Because we're buying it in 2025, we're right?
So that's why it would be about just under $5,000 unbudgeted expense in 2025.
Repeat that one more time.
It would be about a $5,000 expense in 2025 that was budgeted,
We're only paying for the last part of the year.
or for the first part of the term.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So we'd be budgeting for 4
This
months
is our
and a one-time
chance to
fee.
talk about
Yes.
it. Okay. And the second thing, if I may, Mr. Chair, I can certainly see the data practices thing we just recently were challenged on that and lost. So I can see that. I'm not 100% certain that the other one,
Perform.
performance evaluation one, since sometimes that's a problem with our staff to fill those out, no matter how we do it. So why pay more money? In other words, why pay more money if we're not gonna do it? That would be my initial thought, and I'm not trying to be derogatory, but it does seem like we have a difficult time getting staff to fill those out. And I'm talking staff across the board. I know.
So
even on-
Kelly, if I can respond to that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was an issue in years past. It was not last year. Also completed that it is required in our employee policy manual, and employees do not complete or submit a performance review form with their supervisor looking at it. It is a disciplinary issue at that point.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And as explained in the agenda request, our current process is quite, labor intensive now. Everything has to be printed out for it to be signed, and then it's scanned in to be filed, where this would be an automatic, it would eliminate that one step that takes a lot of HR's time.
Right.
Right, but the lawsuit we lost wasn't because we didn't have a piece of software, it's because we didn't respond to the data
Right.
request. Just ignored him, that you can't do that.
It fell through the cracks.
Yes.
Right.
It fell through the cracks, we'll call it that. So I don't know why I'm hesitant to spend $11,000 a year because we don't know how to hit send on emails. I don't think next request is going to do that for you. I just don't think it is. And then I question the $15,000. I don't know what direction we're going with HR over the next year or two, but this seems like a big commitment to get into. When I met with Nick and Connie and Chris on Wednesday, I brought up, how much software do we subscribe to? Citywide, how much software do we subscribe to? And are we using it all? And do some departments subscribe to something that other departments could benefit from that we don't need to buy new software? It maybe doesn't affect these two purchases, which I'm already against, but it'd just be interesting to see what software subscriptions we have and if they're even being utilized. And I imagine you would know if they're being utilized.
Yeah, right, correct. And we can provide that if you want that.
I absolutely do.
And one thing we talked about in that meeting as well, Gabe, correct me if I'm wrong, you brought up the very same point, which I think is a valid point. If the committee and the full council decides to approve, they obviously can disapprove these, but if the council decides to approve these, it's just approving us putting them in the budget, we can still take them out, and then concurrently, we can take an action item to get back to the council with what software we currently have and are we utilizing that to its fullest capacity.
I have another question. No, Nick, it seems like that contradicts what I just said. Because if we approve this tonight as a council, not necessarily just here, we're buying it for the next.
But before the final budget is published, you guys could pull this from the budget, correct?
Perform, you're correct, we're asking to purchase in 2025, but you could say.
Tomorrow.
But you could say, we're waiting on both, put it in the budget, see what it happens. We just won't be able to use it for 2025 reviews. But it can be in 2026, put it in the budget, see how it looks, one of the items that we can cut if needed, or if council decides.
And that brings up where I was going with this. Is there a timeliness in the next 2 weeks on this?
Just to try to get the Perform up and running if we're gonna use it for the 2025 reviews.
Got it.
There's about
But
a
if
3-month leeway, I think. 3-month lead time in order to get it set up.
I'm hesitant, Mr. Chair, just because of the usage, the long-term commitment, and the necessity, particularly of the performance reviews. That being said, I can read that there appears to be a benefit to staff on this. And in the 4 days since I've had my packet, I've struggled with this one. It doesn't mean I wouldn't vote in favor of it, but I would much like to see what Sean comes back with on what we've been purchasing and what we're using and what we're not using, I would be much more enthusiastic if I had a little more time to be convinced that this is something we'll use and benefit from.
It seems logical to me to cover our bases, to see what we have and what we don't have, and how we're using it, before we go ahead and approve this, to me.
I would like to wait 2 weeks and see some more information from our IT department, and also to be able to digest the value in more than 4 days. So if it's all right with you, Mr. Chair, I'd make that motion that we withhold this for 2 more weeks to get more information from the IT department.
I would second that.
Okay, I'll support that because it just puts it off for 2 weeks and I can still vote no in 2 weeks when
Yeah.
people want to approve it. I'm gonna be a no, I think we definitely shouldn't be implementing it in 25 since it wasn't budgeted. But then if we do in 26, this should be similar to all other departments' budgetary requests, not slipped in before we do the budget, so they get their way at HR and everybody else has to go through the traditional process of putting in their requests to finance for the budget.
That was my first point. Although I will have to then contradict a little bit, because I believe in staff. I believe you would not be presenting this if it wasn't something you thought would have value. And I think we ask an awful lot of our staff. I think we work a lot, I think our staff works very hard. And if there's things that can make the process easier and better, then we should at least look at it. So that's why I don't wanna vote no on it now, for the reasons you just mentioned, so.
But by waiting 2 weeks, getting some information
Yeah, I
from
think
Sean, we'll get more clarity, which will help us make that decision.
Exactly, plus it'll give me a chance, I haven't sat down and talked to Connie, I haven't sat down and talked to Chris, and just like you have, so
I think,
I'd like to do that.
Chief Davis, if you have anything to add, you guys have the most data request. I mean,
If I may.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah,
15
so-
minutes.
I'll just be
Give me your
frank.
best 12 minutes.
I'll be frank, this next request software is something that I brought to a department head meeting and to Nick. And the reason I did was, the amount of data requests we're doing, and they're so complex. And we have data requests for the police department is night and day difference than it was 2 years ago. It is the complexity and the amount of requests where it's pretty transparent, they're out to get us, and looking for a misstep. And especially when it's involving multiple departments, emails from IT, human resources, us. And the reason I brought this forward was, I think our process is as good as it can get with a lot of the manual spreadsheets and this and that, but as I navigate through this, and I spend a lot of time on this, I just keep coming back to, we're gonna get caught on some errors here, and we're gonna be back into that position with a lawsuit, and no intention on anyone to make these errors. They're so convoluted and so complex, it's just a matter of time until staff makes an error. It's just, it's not possible not to. And I wish I could like sit down and really, show you the depth of some of these. And I just had a legitimate concern that, without this software that tracks it and really does it right and takes all those safeguards and allows you not to make these errors and make these mistakes, that it's just a matter of time till we're presented with another issue.
and I think another item that it would all come to one portal would be very helpful, instead of some go to Tony, some go to John, some go to Chris, you know what I mean? Like, it would all just be, if you have a data request, it's all in one, versus getting sent to different people. I think that would be very helpful.
For one request, the email threads that we get going amongst departments and sharing, and it gets so, it's so challenging to keep track of.
And 934 of the data requests that we've received this year are coming from, or are the police department.
With this information now, if we'd have had this before we made the motion, I'd have said, let's go for it. I mean, we've got more information
And I would still hold
now.
off for 2 weeks, because
Oh, that's fine.
I'd like to know more. As a matter of fact, Chief, you just brought up another question for the IT department, not to necessarily ask tonight, but to answer in 2 weeks, would be, where's all this data, all these emails and stuff, through this single portal coming, that seems dangerous to me. Coming from, okay, so I make a data request. I wanna know about some police procedure or an email that went out regarding something that, and I've seen some of these, so I understand this is a potential huge problem. But I would also say, if I'm just sitting at home with nothing to do and I start pounding the city with data requests, how much of the information that's on the city's computers is gonna be available to me if I ask the right question? And I'm not looking for an answer necessarily now, but if you think you can, I would be concerned that there would be some vulnerability on single portal accessibility to all of our city data.
So I think this doesn't do that.
Well, let's see what he
I was
says.
just gonna say, the emails all backed up to once, probably millions of emails. So things have to be, the search engine has to be worded exactly right, and it takes roughly 5 days to run a search. You hit start and you watch the bar go by, come back in 5 days and see if it's done. If you did it wrong, you start the search again. If it doesn't find anything, like this last search was 26,000 emails since March 1st or something like that. Now I gotta whittle that many emails down to actually answer the data request, and sometimes we have to send it off to an attorney, but then I don't even know if we're paying per hour to.
But all of these data requests are timely, yes? Short, and they're short time.
Yeah, it's,
10
yeah,
days.
10 days if you're the subject and.
Reasonable amount of time if they're not the data subject.
Okay.
But that's still going to have to be done. We're still gonna have to have people actually getting the documents, putting them together. This software is just like setting up a reminder in your inbox, saying, hey, you gotta hit send on that email.
It's also though, you can redact things through the software, that right now we have to print out, redact, and then scan it back in.
Okay.
So, you
Yeah,
know.
so
I
I'm
mean, it
leaning
would be
more
helpful.
towards what Chief Stunek said, but I will stick by, I'll stick by the motion. I don't think 2 weeks is the end of the world. I'd like to learn more about this.
And this is exactly why we brought this to council, is so that we did put it in the budget. It wasn't something that we were trying to get in. We wanted to have authority to put it in the budget from the council.
Understood,
Yeah,
but there's,
we appreciate that.
yeah, thank you.
So the motion is to bring this back with some more information in a couple weeks, or to our next meeting.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, that motion carries. Budget timeline, Connie.
It is 2026 preliminary levy needs to be set by September 30th. The preliminary levy is what's used to send out all the tax statements in November to all property owners. The final levy adopted in December can be lower but not higher than the preliminary levy. The council president, chair PNF, and city administrator will meet on August 14th. The park board will present the budget at the next council meeting. And we'll have potentially have a budget workshop on Monday, August 25th. Have additional workshops or further discussion about the budget and levy in September, and set the preliminary levy at the regular council meeting on September 15th. So the discussion of the proposed timeline and to set a budget workshop for Monday, August 25th at 6 p.m.
I'm gonna look and see what day of the week that is.
It's a
Monday.
Monday.
It's the last
it's
Monday in
the-
August.
Last Monday in August.
I so moved to it.
Second, yeah,
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
8/26 or 25?
25.
25 at 6 p.m.
Yes.
There was a 6 in there somewhere.
And anything else to come before us? Okay, we're adjourned.